Hello, Marcie.
Hey, Mark.
How are things in your world?
Well, things are going pretty well. Very busy. We're getting ready to get a unprecedented snowstorm, and I think that may be a metaphor for what's going to happen to Concourse Benefits.
I love it. I love it. So, the purpose of this podcast, Marcie, is for people to get an understanding of who you are, what your interests are, and then your role in the Concourse Benefits Platform. So, maybe start on the early days. Uh, where did you grow up? What did you do? What kind of things do you like doing? And then we'll switch over and talk about your professional life after that.
Okay, great. Well, I appreciate the opportunity to talk with you today on the podcast. We're all very excited about where we are in this journey with Concourse Benefits. But I did have a professional life in a couple of different aspects prior to Concourse Benefits. I am a New Orleanian, a New Orleans native, Louisiana, and I grew up in a family in the suburb of Metairie, Louisiana, with two sisters and a brother, and had the good fortune of working as a family with my father. But growing up, everything was centered around our culture, our food, and our family and faith. And as a result of that, many times we were often brought in to business meetings, which were really just large family dinners. And so from an early age, we were all exposed to insurance and to many different types of industries across our state. And eventually, as we all one by one joined the company that my father started, became ingrained in the culture and the business communities across the country, primarily in the Colorado and the Montana area. And then as we branched out onto into the East Coast.
So, an entrepreneur from day one, being able to see your family's journey in entrepreneurship, business, learning it, and I guess you fell in love with the idea of being an entrepreneur and having your own business, and that propelled you to keep going.
Yes, and there were some detours along the way, good ones. Professionally, for me, I didn't start out in the insurance industry. It was just something that we all laugh about and say we learned by osmosis, because you know when you live and breathe that, and it just becomes a part of you. And so, my initial professional designation was a degree in vocational rehabilitation counseling. And oddly enough, as I began that career, I was assigned to work with insurance companies who provided workers' compensation to the various industries across the Gulf states, and work with those folks who had incurred an on the job accident and help
Mm.
them to try and find an alternative duty with their employer or with a new employer. And sometimes that involved helping evaluate and place them in training programs for a different type of occupation. So that's sort of where I channeled my insurance energy initially. And as you mentioned, the entrepreneurial side, at the ripe old age of, I think it was maybe 60, my father decided he would start a company. And
Wow.
he had spent 30 years with New York Life Insurance Company as the very first person to go along with life insurance agents to sell health insurance. And so after he worked in that capacity, he was recruited to go to work for a consulting firm called Byerly and Company. They were out of Fraser, Colorado. They were an employee-owned outfit, and they worked with chambers of commerce all across the East Coast and the Southern Gulf Coast. And from his experience there, he led the Louisiana Association of Business and Industries initial foray into the association health plan that is still marketed, managed, and run by Associated Benefits today. He joined Blue Cross and Blue Shield to become Blue Cross Blue Shield, to underwrite this particular program for the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry. And that was after travelers left the state of Louisiana. So when I tell you that we grew up in the insurance industry, we grew up with the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry, and we continue to serve that organization and their members to this day. And it is our complete and utter privilege. I say all that because when my father decided at the ripe old age of 60 to go out on his own, my brother was working with him at the time. And this is sort of an inside joke, but we laugh and say that insurance drove him to religion. And one day he went in and told my father that he had decided he wanted to be a priest. And that wouldn't have been
Wow.
a problem. That wasn't a problem, except we were Catholic. We are Catholic. And in the Catholic Church, you can't be married. And he was married.
Uh,
So he converted to Episcopalian. You might have to edit that out. But um, at that time, I'm still a vocational rehabilitation counselor. I'm still working with insurance companies. So my dad said, "Hey, you know something about insurance? You come work with me." And I said, "Well, I have this career and I love what I'm doing. Come work with me." And so that was the beginning. And then it was Susan, my sister Susan, who came to work with us, and Cindy, and here we are 30 years later.
it sounds like it was a pre-orchestrated plan that everything happened the way that it was supposed to happen.
Yes, I hadn't looked at it like that, but I think you're probably right. I don't think that any of us imagined that my father would open his own firm um, at that age. But what it provided us in terms of a real education about not only running a business, but also how to start association health plans. And that was really one of our first on the job training opportunities in associated benefits consulting. We, as an organization, wrote a letter to all of the states in the US that were part of the Louisiana Purchase on the bicentennial of the Louisiana Purchase, and said, if you would like a free assessment about creating an association health plan, we have this experience and we'd like to work with you. We'll do a feasibility study. That was, don't test me, but I'll tell you that was probably in 02, 03. Montana took us up on that offer, and we went to work in Montana and built the Chamber Choices Health Plan that was awarded the health care coverage for insuring the most uninsured previously, all prior to the Affordable Care Act. And that plan is no longer in existence today. But at the time, the growth rate and the number of Montanans that were covered was awarded for its ability to make that in health insurance accessible to folks that it had not been accessible to before.
So this might all come full circle because the chambers that you used to interact with or work with in the past, you might be coming back into contact with them now with this Concourse Benefits platform that helps any chamber or association run their entire benefits offerings.
Yes, yes,
That's amazing.
it's exciting, and it's always been a very rewarding job to help put plans in place and be able to provide creative solutions that reinforce the value of chamber membership.
Awesome. So, Marcie, what do you like doing in your spare time? Do you travel? Do what does Marcie love to do if she doesn't have to think about work for a period of time?
Well, what I love to do is right now I have daughters who live on opposite sides of the country. So in my spare time, you will find me in Los Angeles or in New York or Providence, Rhode Island. Um, and that takes up a lot of time because I feel like I have to be equal. I have twin girls, and they're turning 25 tomorrow. So yes, yes.
Wow.
And if I'm not traveling, I am cooking in the kitchen with my husband, trying to learn to become as good a chef as he is. And I've really kind of gotten into that lately. and we have our family dog that we love to walk and love to be with my friends and go to music festivals and hopefully getting into cycling. So, yeah.
Life is good. Speaking of cycling, I got myself an electric bike so that when we
Did you?
do go cycling, I can go longer, farther. And I'm totally looking forward to it. As you know, I'm based in central Canada, and right now we actually have a cold weather warning where the schools are shut down and it's like minus 45-degree wind chill. So we can't use those types of things, but when March, April comes, I'm looking forward to that as well. So have you ever gone down the possibility of getting yourself an electric bicycle?
It's funny you mentioned that because a friend of mine's husband got one, and it was about, I guess, a year or so ago. She told me about it, and I've been following Byron's progress, and I'm interested in it because when we go for a long bike ride, in the back of my mind, I'm always thinking about, okay, now I have to pedal myself back home. So as much
Yeah.
fun as it was to go as far as we did. So yes, I think I would definitely consider that.
Well, once you do, I can share you some of my experiences as well. Maybe help you out.
That would be great.
So now, before we conclude this podcast, Marcie, is there anything that you would like to share that we haven't talked about? It's wide open to whatever topic you think people might want to hear or learn a little bit more about yourself or Concourse Benefits for that matter too.
Well, I guess I would be remiss if I didn't say that when Associated Benefits Consulting invested, or I should say, diversified into um, purchasing the controlling interest in an ACA, an Affordable Care Act reporting software company, that software as a service experience is really, I believe, what resonated with me when I initially spoke with Boyd about Concourse, and at the time, now it was Concourse, now Concourse Benefits. Um, it was interesting to find someone who had knowledge of what was possible through insurance for chambers, but also putting that together with leveraging the software aspect. And that's what really resonated with me, and the alignment in terms of what the ultimate goal and mission was, to make the chambers sustainable, more relevant, and to enhance their benefits. And so I'm excited about what we've been working to put together and what we're going to be able to provide for our clients there and the chambers and their members.
If you don't mind sharing your thoughts or experience on the ACCE conference that we exhibited at as a proof of need or proof of market test that we did. This would have been the 2024 ACCE conference.
Mm-hmm.
That really opened my eyes on the need and the fresh perspective and new offerings that chambers of commerce are actually looking for. Can you share your experience, your perspective, and the conclusion after that event?
Wow. Um, you know, we were so overwhelmed in a very good way by the positive response that we received from so many of the chamber professionals. They recognized the value of what we were doing, or what we are doing, because I know that they are looking for ways to diversify their revenue and their income, but also to address the needs that have been brought forward by their members. And so, in talking with so many of these chamber executives, whatever they would gravitate to was something we could provide a solution for. So whether they were interested in a pooled plan provider for sponsoring 401ks through their organization, or if they were interested in offering member benefits in the form of dental, vision, or any other type of affinity offerings, we had something that we could offer to them, but it was all in one place. And I think that was the aha moment, that despite having other software that provides myriad of services, they really don't have anything like Concourse Benefits, where everything and all the vendors are in one place. You can customize it and it's automated, and we are able to manage all of those transactions in terms of collecting payment and paying out non-dues revenue. And that, I think, was really inspiring because it was so well received by so many people.
Likewise, it was a real eye opener for me as well. It just gave proof of the vision that we have as a team and the need and the demand that is out there. It was great for me as well.
And I know you all are doing some fantastic things in Canada, and we look forward to bringing what you have there to the United States, as well as bringing some of the novelty products and services that we have here to your market as well.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing that, Marcie. For those people who want to connect with you, I will put your LinkedIn profile link in the show notes so that if people are interested in having a conversation with you about anything related to what we talked about, they can reach out. And appreciate you taking the time and doing this podcast, and looking forward to a very good 2025 and beyond.
Absolutely. Thanks, Mark.
Thank you.